The old joke asks for directions. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? And the answer is, keep practicing. In the case of Jake Greenberg, however, the route is much faster. Greenberg is 15, and he's getting what some composers many times his age will never have, a major orchestral debut of his music at Carnegie Hall.
When people go to special lengths to emphasize age, it gives me the feeling that sort of like, yeah, the piece is good for a 15-year-old. I mean, it brings the assumption that the same piece, if written by a 19-year-old, would be mediocre, and if written by a 30-year-old, would be awful.
Greenberg isn't the only musical prodigy in the house. Joshua Bell, newly a father with a son of his own, began playing violin at 4. He leads this fall's rehearsal and world premiere of Jay Greenberg's Violin Concerto at Carnegie. But what may be most difficult for young prodigies is not their music, but balancing what would be a normal home life of being big brother to 11-year-old Michael, with a musical gift that has driven Greenberg to write more than 100 works, including 5 symphonies and at least 4 concertos since he was 10. That means record labels, critics, fans.
If anything, I'd rather that publicity had been postponed for about 10 years from when they began, so that I would have to start out, getting pieces played at schools and universities and benefits and the like normal composers, and then eventually when my talents are better formed, have all the commissioners and the interviewers and everyone else coming in.
The world isn't interested in leaving alone a guy who hears huge sections of symphonic music in his head and writes them down in restaurants.
It's almost 2 years ago now when we were recording your 5th symphony when you were all of 13 years old, and we were at this Italian restaurant the day before the first recording, and it was your mom and me and you, and by the time dinner arrived, which was maybe 15 minutes later, you had actually written a new piece for horn and piano. Now, part of this horn piece has ended up in Violin Concerto.
Well, yeah, sort of. But yeah, anyway, that rhythmic part in 7/8 at the beginning.
Sony Masterworks has issued Greenberg's first CD, a London Symphony recording of his 5th Symphony. That release was last year, the same year he finished high school, at age 14. Jay Greenberg says his music is so consuming that he doesn't have much time to spend with friends. But when the new Violin Concerto prompts Associated Press critic Martin Steinberg to rave, quote, "The 15-year-old composer is for real," and the New York Times' Steve Smith to write about the composer's generous skill and knack for creative orchestration, maybe Greenberg's music is making those friends for him.
I had to learn to drive as well.
And that's the other way to get to Carnegie Hall. Porter Anderson, CNN, New York.